It's time for the final interview of the show, and joining me is Masuma Ahuja, who is an award-winning journalist who reports on people, power, and politics around the world. She was previously a producer at CNN and national digital editor at The Washington Post. She's the author of Girlhood, a book about the lives of teenage girls from around the world, a lot of it in their own voices and words. Welcome to the show, Masuma. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you for having me.
I think to start off, it's so exciting to have you on the show, and I wanted to find out, why did you become a journalist and what inspired you to invest in the future of teen girls?
I think I became a journalist in part because I just liked talking to people and asking questions, and it was great to find a job where I got paid to do that, and I was allowed to go and talk to people for a living. I've always been very curious, and I grew up moving around the world, and I was always curious about finding spaces to find stories like mine and find voices like mine, and I very rarely saw them reflected anywhere in media. So partly I became a journalist because I wanted to tell stories like mine. And that even feeds into why I focus on teenage girls, because I don't think we pay enough attention to them. And teenage girls are the future, right? They have so much ahead of them, and we don't see enough of how they view the world, and we don't hear enough about what they're thinking about and how they move through the world. So I want to give them spaces to tell their stories.
And now the book is about the lives of teenage girls in their own words. Anything in particular from any of their stories that stands out from you, or does all of it stand out?
To be honest, all of it stands out, but I think the thing that stuck with me as I put the book together, the book has 30 girls from 27 different countries, and they all shared diary entries with me and also some photos and answered some questions. And every girl lives in a different place, has like different circumstances, and there's a lot that's unique about every girl, but there's also a lot that is common between the stories in terms of the things that people spend their days worrying about, the fights they have with their parents, the struggles they have with their friends, the things they're excited about, the things they're hopeful about. A lot of that is very similar wherever you are when you're around 16 or 17, and a lot of it applies even as you get older.
And how are you hoping that this media organization, that you're hoping to build on this idea and create a media organization that invests in, trains, and is for teen girls? How can one get involved in this organization you're wanting to establish, and how are you hoping it's going to impact the lives of young girls?
So in terms of impact, I think I really want to invest in creating spaces where girls are told that their voices matter and what they have to say matters, because that's so important, and we don't have enough of that in the world. And I think that's one of the building blocks of like how to change the world and how to change people's lives and how to make girls invest in girls' power and how to make them feel like they have power and agency, which they do. So if people want to get involved, they can go to my website, masuma.net, or they can go to girlhoodstories.com, and there's contact info there. There's a place to drop in an email address or send me a note. I'm looking for all kinds of people who want to get involved, whether you're a teenage girl or you're an adult.
Well, Masuma, it sounds like an incredible organization. And just before I let you go, with your experience in the media world, what is your impression of RX Radio and how it is by and for children?
I think it's wonderful. Everyone is always the best person to tell their own story, and it's great that RX Radio exists and is a place where young people get to tell their own stories and tell the stories of their own communities, because who better to do that than them?
Awesome, Masuma. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great having you on.
Thank you.
You are listening to RX Radio
for and by children.
RX Radio. RX Radio rocks.